The 3 envelopes, complete script. When my 16-year-old daughter screamed that she wanted to live with her father, I didn't cry. I didn't beg. I didn't even argue. I just stood up, walked to my bedroom, and pulled out a small wooden box I'd hidden for 14 years. A box I swore I'd never open unless absolutely necessary. I placed it in her hands and she smiled, thinking I'd given up on her. But when she opened at second envelope 3 hours later, that smile died. Her face went white. Her hands started shaking. And she looked at me like she was seeing me for the first time. Because inside that box wasn't just paper. It was the truth. The kind of truth that destroys everything you thought you knew. Stay with me, because what happened next changed both of our lives forever.
Before we continue, if you're enjoying this story, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. We have a goal of reaching 1,000 subscribers, and your subscription is essential for us to get there. Don't miss the chance to be part of this journey and help us bring more amazing content like this. Thank you.
My name is Helen. I'm 42 years old, a high school math teacher, and the mother of Laura, my only daughter. For 16 years, I woke up at 5 in the morning to make her breakfast before school. For 16 years, I saved every drawing, every report card, every photo. For 16 years, I built our life alone. Her father? Raphael disappeared when she was 2, simply walked out to buy cigarettes and never came back. No phone call, no explanation, no child support, nothing. But 6 months ago, he reappeared. Expensive car, designer clothes, perfect smile. He started picking Laura up on weekends, taking her to fancy restaurants, shopping malls, theme parks, everything I could never afford on a teacher's salary. And Laura, my girl, started to change. Our dinner conversations got shorter. Her eyes grew distant. Until last night, during another argument about her curfew, she exploded. "I want to live with my dad." The words cut through our kitchen like a knife. Laura was standing there, eyes red, fists clenched. 16 years of love reduced to this rejection. "He understands me. He doesn't control me all the time. He has money. He has this huge house, and I'd have my own room with a private bathroom. Everything you never gave me." Every word was a stab to my heart. I could have screamed back. I could have cried. I could have listed every sacrifice I'd made. But I didn't do any of that. Instead, I took a deep breath and said simply, "Okay." Laura blinked, confused by my calmness. "Okay? That's it?" "That's it," I confirmed. "But before you go, I need to give you something." I went up to my room while she stayed in the living room, clearly unsettled by my reaction. I opened my closet, moved aside the winter coats, and grabbed the wooden box that had been hidden there for 14 years. A box I swore never to open unless absolutely necessary. I walked down the stairs holding that box like I was carrying a bomb about to explode. Because, in a way, that's exactly what it was. Laura was sitting on the couch, on her phone, probably texting her father about her victory. She barely looked up when I sat beside her. "Laura, look at me." Something in my tone made her put down her phone. I placed the wooden box in her hands. "What is this?" she asked, frowning. "Inside this box are 3 envelopes. They're numbered. You're going to open 1 per day, starting today. And there's a key." "A key to what?" "You'll find out when you open the 3rd envelope," I replied, feeling my heart tighten. "But I need you to promise me something. You'll read everything inside, every word, and only after reading all 3 envelopes will you make your final decision about living with your father." Laura rolled her eyes. "Mom, this is ridiculous. It won't change anything." "Then you have nothing to lose, right?" I held her hands over the box. "Promise me." She sighed, that teenage arrogance still stamped on her face. "Fine, I promise. But it won't change anything. I've already decided." I stood up and kissed her forehead, then opened the 1st envelope now. and then we'll talk." I went up to my room and closed the door, and only then did I allow the tears to fall, because I knew exactly what was inside those envelopes. Truths I'd kept for so long. Truths that would destroy the image Laura had of her father, and truths she needed to know, no matter the cost. I lay in bed for almost an hour, listening to the silence of the house. Had Laura opened the first envelope? Was she reading it right now? My stomach churned just thinking about it. Then I heard quick footsteps on the stairs. My door burst open. Laura stood there holding a crumpled paper, her face completely transformed. She was no longer the arrogant teenager from a half an hour ago. She was a confused, scared child. Is this true?" Her voice trembled. "What's written here?" I sat up in bed. Yes, every word. But he said... Laura looked at the paper again as if the words might change. "He always said you kicked him out, that you wouldn't let me see me, that you lied to the judge." I know what he said, and now you know the truth. Your father wasn't prevented from seeing you, Laura. He simply chose not to show up for 14 years. The first envelope contained copies of documents, dozens of them, lawsuits that I filed asking for child support, notifications that the bailiff left at his house, all ignored. And most importantly, the complete documentation of the missing person case I opened when Raphael disappeared, because he hadn't just left, he ran, with $50,000 he borrowed from his boss, promising to invest in the business, money he spent in casinos and gambling. "There's more," Laura whispered, and I saw the terror growing in her eyes. "You say here that he was arrested?" "Yes, for 6 months. Fraud and writing bad checks. That's why he disappeared so suddenly. He was running from the police. But when he reappeared 6 months ago, he said that he'd been traveling for work, that he was building his life, and now he wanted to include me." "And you believed it because that's exactly what a daughter wants to believe," I said gently, getting down from the bed and sitting beside her on the floor. "You wanted a present father so badly that you accepted his version without questioning. Why didn't you ever tell me?" "Because you were a child. Because I didn't want to poison you against him. Because..." My voice failed. "Because I thought protecting you from the truth was the right thing. Maybe I was wrong." Laura was silent for many minutes, processing. Then, with trembling hands, she grabbed the box she'd left in the hallway. "And the second envelope? What's in the second one?" she asked, almost fearfully. "That you need to decide if you want to know. I can tell you it's harder than the first. Much harder." She looked at me, and for the first time in months, she really saw me. Not as the annoying mom who imposes rules, but as the person who was always there. "I need to know everything," she said, determined. "Open it with me. Now." I nodded. Together we opened the second envelope. And when Laura finished reading, she didn't cry. She was completely still, as if struck by lightning. The paper fell from her hands. "He has another family," she whispered. "The whole time? He always had one." The second envelope contained photos. Photos that a private investigator brought me 3 months ago, when I suspected Raphael's true intentions in reappearing in Laura's life. Raphael married to another woman, 3 young children, a house in a middle-class neighborhood, no mansion or his own imported car, everything rented, everything borrowed. But the cruelest part was the dates. He had remarried 2 years after abandoning us. The oldest son was 12. He had rebuilt his life, created a new family, while Laura waited for a father who never returned. "And there's more," I said softly, preparing her for the worst. "Look at his wedding date. Look at the first child's birth date." Laura calculated quickly. Her eyes widened in shock. "He was already with her when he still lived here? When I was 2? "Yes. He didn't run because he was arrested. He was arrested because he was running to her. Laura started shaking. I took her in my arms as she finally broke down. Why did he come back then? Why now? She sobbed against my shoulder. And I knew the answer. It was in the third envelope, the most painful part of all. Laura slept with me that night, like she hadn't since she was a child. In the morning, I woke up to find her sitting on the bed, the box in her lap, staring at the third envelope. I'm scared, she admitted. What could be worse than finding out my father has a secret family? I sat beside her. The third envelope explains why he came back. And you need that answer, Laura, because he's going to try to convince you again. And next time, you need to know the whole truth. With trembling fingers, she opened it. Inside was a legal document. Laura frowned, trying to understand the legal jargon. I don't understand. This is about Grandma's house? Yes. Your grandmother, my mother, passed away 8 months ago. She left this house to you, in her will, but you can only take possession when you turn 18, in 2 years. But what does this have to do with my father? Keep reading. Laura scanned the document until she stopped at a specific clause. Her eyes widened. In the event that the minor resides with the biological father at the time of reaching legal age, he shall have legal right of usufruct of the property, she read aloud, pausing. This means that if you're living with him when you turn 18, he gains the right to live in this house and to sell it if he wants, keeping half the value. The silence that followed was deafening. How much is this house worth? Laura asked, her voice dead. At current market value, about $800,000. Your grandmother bought it 40 years ago, paid it off completely, and it appreciated a lot. So he didn't come back for me, but for $400,000? Each word was a stone falling. I watched my daughter age years in minutes. How did you find out? She asked. He called me 3 days after reappearing in your life, said he'd consulted a lawyer about his rights as a father, that it would be a shame if we needed to settle things in court after so long, but that if you chose to live with him, everything would be more simple. He blackmailed me through me? Laura whispered, horrified. He used my feelings, my desire to have a father, to get money. Yes. And you didn't tell me because you wouldn't have believed me. You were so dazzled by the idea of having a present father that anything I said would sound like a jealous mom trying to sabotage. You needed to find out for yourself. Laura picked up the small copper key that was at the bottom of the box. And this? What does the key open? I stood up and guided her to my closet. In the back, there was an old suitcase. Laura used the key and opened it. Inside was everything. Every letter I wrote to Raphael in the early years, all returned unopened. Every Christmas and birthday present I bought that he never picked up. An entire photo album documenting Laura's first 2 years, years that Raphael was physically present, but had already had his heart elsewhere. And at the bottom of the suitcase, an envelope addressed to Laura in her grandmother's handwriting. My dear Laura, if you're reading this, it means the truth has finally come out. I know it hurts, but I also know you're strong. Strong like your mother. This house is yours. It's not just an inheritance, it's a choice I made consciously. Because your mother built a home for you, when your father built only excuses. A father isn't someone who shows up when it's convenient. It's someone who stays when it's hard. Your mother stayed. Always. I love you forever, Grandma Ann. Laura carefully folded the letter and hugged me. This time, she wasn't seeking comfort. She was offering it. I'm sorry, Mom, for everything. You don't need to. Yes, I do. She pulled away, and I saw a new maturity in her eyes. I said horrible things, that you never gave me anything when you gave me everything, that he understood me when he was just using me. My phone rang. It was Raphael. For the 10th time that morning, Laura took my phone and answered. Hello, Dad? Yes, it's Laura. About living with you, I've decided I'm not going to. And before you make up more lies, I know everything. The other family, the jail time, the money, everything. We heard his voice on the other end, trying to argue, making up more stories. No, Laura interrupted, with a firmness that filled me with pride. You had 14 years to be my father. You chose not to be. Now it's too late. Goodbye. She hung up, blocked the number, and turned to me. Ready for breakfast? I'm making it today. And in that moment, I realized my girl had become a strong woman. If this story touched your heart, drop a comment below telling me what you would have done in Helen's place. Would you have given your daughter the envelopes, or would you have handled it differently? And if you want more real-life stories that will make you think, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You never know when the next story will change your perspective on life. See you in the next one.